Well, this is a short video that I'm going to make to show how the clutch plates come off and how you can just buy some bolts from the hardware store. And I already took apart the engine, so I'm waiting to fix the top end, but I got the bottom end all out. Looks good. Got to reassemble it, so let me get my pieces of equipment together and we'll show you how it's done. Alright, so I had already taken this out and the crank is off with the piston rod and all that stuff, but essentially this chain is going to be connected to the pulley on this flywheel. You can see that here, and that goes on this side of the crank. And so essentially you have to use your flywheel puller. I think I have mine here. This is the flywheel puller I used. I got that for like 10 bucks. The bolts sucked, so I had to get my own bolts. Basically this bolt here is what I drove into the crank axle to get the flywheel pulled. Of course, there's going to be some bolts going in here into these three holes. These are the rivets that hold the sprocket on the flywheel. Anyhow, so the flywheel and the clutch housing is going to come off at the same time because they're connected by a chain. But what I used were these bolts, and there's of course I just barely have them caught, but I use bolts yay long. Gosh, they look like 10s, 10mm hex head, but you could use whatever type of head you want. You want a full thread, probably, it's easiest. And you can get these anywhere. I'll have to figure out what the pitch on this screw is, but I just figured it out by taking some extra bolts I had from the bike, running them in there and feeling that they caught, and then finding the appropriate size bolt to use. So there's 3 of them here, and they're used to compress this clutch housing so that you can get the clutch plates off. Let's see if I can get this here. And I'll show you here. What's important is that when you put it back together, let's see here. When you put it back together, all those holes have to line up. And what you have here is there's a cover part of the clutch housing, the sprocket part. That's the housing itself. And then you got each of the plates. And then the last piece is where your clutch springs are. And they sit in these little cups. I'm told you can get heavy duty clutch springs if you tweak your motor and you get so much power. You may need to get different clutch springs and different clutch plates that are thicker. Anyhow, so yeah, I don't think there's any special tool. This isn't much of a video, but you know, I'm telling you, I just used some bolts. Get different sizes, you know, spend $5, pick up some bolts. If you want to figure out which bolt it is, I'll try to get you that information on how many threads or pitch and all that. But dig around in your spare bolts and run it down in there until you find a long bolt that catches and that threads well. Take the bolt out, take it down to the hardware store. Everywhere that there's a hardware store that sells bolts, they'll have little bolt measuring devices right on the wall. And then get various sizes, and you know, maybe you'll need to use some washers depending on the size of bolt you use. But that's pretty much it. Alright, so I'm on my Bella mission #1 to go to the hardware store and figure out what these size bolts are. Because a Bella friend in need is a Bella friend indeed. Alright, so we're at the hardware store. Over by the bolts, you can see that there's this standard bolt measuring slide here. I put the bolt into metric, and it's a M6 1 right there. See, it threads in there real nice. Alright, so we found the drawer that's metric, and there we go, hex head cap screws. I actually have fully threaded ones, but I'm sure they have them around here somewhere. Let's see. Anyway, that'll work anyway. Pull this out. These are M6s. The pitch is 1. Look at how expensive they are. Ooh, 27 cents. That's for these little ones. They are too short. So you're gonna want, let's see, 3 of these, and they are M6 by 45. Pitch is 1, 45 cents each. Oh man, too rich for my blood, huh? And I would get some of the shorter ones too. Maybe 3 of these as well. These are fully threaded. That's good. I like the fully threaded ones. So that's going to be an M6 by 30. 1 pitch, 39 cents each. So if you pick up 6 of these, 3 of these, and 3 of these, that's that one, M6 45, 1 pitch, M6 30, 1 pitch. Maybe use some washers that you have. You'll be able to get the clutch plates off just fine. Isn't that the truth?